the lights go out, the crowd erupts, and in that split second of darkness, you know something brutal is about to happen. What went down on SmackDown this week wasn't just another segment, wasn't just another beatdown. This was the moment where Damian Priest crossed a line that can never be uncrossed, a line that separates competitor from predator. And when Aldis stepped in front of those cameras with rage in his eyes and disbelief in his voice, we all knew the wrestling world had just witnessed something that would haunt us for weeks to come. So buckle up, because what I'm about to break down for you is the kind of carnage that reminds us why we fell in love with this business in the first place. Before we dive into the chaos, if you're new to SlamZone, welcome to the family. And if you've been here before, you already know what we're about: raw emotion, unfiltered breakdowns, and the kind of wrestling analysis that makes you feel every suplex, every betrayal, every moment of glory. But here's the thing, this channel only grows when you help it grow. When you hit that subscribe button, when you smash that notification bell, you're not just supporting a channel, you're joining a community of people who live and breathe this sport just like you do. So please, from my heart to yours, take 2 seconds right now and become part of something special. Subscribe to SlamZone, because we're building something incredible together, and I don't want you to miss a single moment of what's coming next. Now let's rewind to where this nightmare began. SmackDown opened with an atmosphere that felt different. You could sense it the moment the pyro hit, the moment the crowd settled into their seats. There was tension in the air, thick and suffocating, like everyone in that arena knew violence was coming, but nobody knew where it would strike first. And then we see him, Kit Wilson, wheelchair-bound, broken. A man who just weeks ago was climbing ladders, throwing his body through tables, sacrificing everything for the roar of the crowd. But tonight he's vulnerable. Tonight he's prey. The cameras catch him backstage, rolling through the corridor with medical staff close by. His face tells a story that words never could: pain, frustration, determination. This is a warrior who refuses to stay down even when his body is screaming at him to quit. The injury that put him in that chair wasn't an accident. It wasn't bad luck. It was Damian Priest. It was calculated. It was vicious. And as Kit Wilson navigates the backstage area, trying to maintain some dignity, some presence, you can feel the audience holding its breath, because deep down we all know Priest isn't finished with him. The history between these two runs deeper than most people realize. Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy, a man who once rode alongside the Judgment Day as a force of destruction, has been on a warpath since his world fell apart. Stripped of his brotherhood, humiliated on the grandest stages, Priest has been searching for purpose in all the wrong places. And he found it in pain. Not his own pain, someone else's. Kit Wilson became the target because he represented everything Priest couldn't have anymore: youth, potential, a future that glowed bright. So Priest decided to snuff it out. But here's where the story takes a turn. Here's where the emotion becomes almost unbearable. Because Kit Wilson isn't just some random talent Priest decided to maim. Kit Wilson is someone's son, someone's friend, someone's training partner who dreamed of WrestleMania main events and championship gold. And when Priest put him in that wheelchair 3 weeks ago with a South of Heaven chokeslam onto the steel steps, he didn't just injure a competitor, he shattered a dream. He broke a family. And tonight, on SmackDown, with Kit Wilson trying desperately to stay relevant, to stay visible, to prove he's still part of this roster, Damian Priest came back to finish what he started. The footage is hard to watch. You see Kit Wilson rolling past the catering area, exchanging a few words with a backstage interviewer, trying to smile through the pain, trying to show the world he's not defeated. And then the screen glitches. Static. 1 second of black. When the picture returns, Damian Priest is standing there like a shadow come to life, towering over the wheelchair, eyes empty of mercy. The interviewer scatters. The medical staff freeze. And Kit Wilson, brave, stubborn Kit Wilson, looks up at the man who already destroyed him once and refuses to beg. What happens next is pure savagery. Priest doesn't say a word, doesn't cut a promo, doesn't explain himself. He just acts. He grabs the wheelchair by the handles and slams it backward into the concrete wall with such force that the impact echoes through the entire backstage area. Kit Wilson's head snaps back. His arms flail trying to protect himself, but there's nowhere to go, no escape, no mercy coming. Priest lifts the wheelchair again, this time sideways, and drives it into the stack of equipment cases. Metal crashes against metal. The wheelchair tips. Kit Wilson spills onto the cold concrete floor like a rag doll, helpless and exposed. The crowd watching on the arena screens is losing their minds. Boos rain down like thunder. You can hear people screaming stop from the stands. Children are crying. Adults are standing with their hands on their heads in shock. This isn't entertainment anymore. This feels real. This feels wrong. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because in this moment, Damian Priest has become the villain we legitimately hate, the monster we actually fear. But Priest isn't done. Not even close. He drops to one knee beside Kit Wilson's crumpled body, and for just a second there's this flicker, this tiny possibility that maybe he'll show remorse, maybe he'll realize he's gone too far. But no. Instead, Priest grabs Kit by the back of his neck and drags him across the floor like garbage, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Equipment scatters. Tables get knocked over. And every wrestler, every crew member who witnesses this stands frozen, because nobody knows what to do when a man becomes a demon right before your eyes. Then comes the most chilling moment of the entire segment. Priest hoists Kit Wilson up dead weight in his arms and carries him toward a production crate. The camera zooms in on Priest's face and there's nothing there. No anger. No satisfaction. Just emptiness. Just purpose. He positions Kit's body across the crate like a sacrifice on an altar and steps back. The crowd knows what's coming. We all know what's coming, and we're powerless to stop it. Priest climbs onto an equipment case, stands tall. The arena goes silent except for the desperate pleas of fans begging him not to do this, and then he leaps. A massive elbow drop from 8 feet in the air crashes down onto Kit Wilson's already broken body. The sound is sickening. The visual is worse. Kit convulses from the impact and then goes completely still. Too still. Dangerously still. Chaos erupts backstage. Referees sprint to the scene. Medical personnel flood in with their equipment. And finally here comes Nick Aldis, SmackDown general manager, running full speed with security in tow. Aldis's face is pure rage, the kind of anger that comes from watching something unspeakable happen on your watch, under your authority, in your house. He gets in Damian Priest's face, chest to chest, screaming words we can't quite hear but we feel in our bones. Priest doesn't flinch, doesn't step back, just stares down at the carnage he created with those cold, dead eyes. Security pulls them apart before fists can fly. Aldis is restrained but he's pointing at Priest, making promises, issuing threats, while EMTs work frantically on Kit Wilson who still hasn't moved. They're checking vitals, calling for a stretcher, radioing for an ambulance. This is no longer a wrestling show. This is a crime scene. And every person watching, whether in that arena or at home, feels sick to their stomach because we just witnessed attempted murder disguised as sports entertainment. Now if you're feeling that emotion right now, if your heart is racing and you need to talk about what we just broke down, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me how you felt watching this. Tell me if you think Priest went too far or if this is exactly the kind of intensity wrestling has been missing. And if this breakdown is giving you everything you need, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know because SlamZone is where we have these real conversations. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss when we drop another breakdown this intense. The aftermath of this attack is where things get even more complicated, because Nick Aldis, standing in front of the cameras later that night with his suit jacket off and his tie loosened like he's been through a war, makes an announcement that sends shockwaves through the entire roster. His voice is shaking not from fear but from barely contained fury as he explains that Kit Wilson has been transported to a local medical facility with undisclosed injuries. Undisclosed. That word hangs in the air like poison because it means nobody knows how bad this really is. Concussion? Spinal damage? Internal bleeding? The not knowing makes it so much worse. Aldis continues, his jaw clenched so tight you think his teeth might crack. He announces that Damian Priest has been fined an undisclosed amount and will face disciplinary action pending the results of Kit Wilson's medical evaluation. But here's the problem: fines and suspensions don't fix broken bodies. They don't heal trauma. They don't erase the image of a man being thrown around like a toy and crushed under 250 pounds of hate-fueled vengeance. The punishment feels hollow, inadequate, insulting even. But what can Aldis really do? He's caught between maintaining order and understanding that sometimes chaos is what sells tickets, what drives storylines, what keeps people talking. Wrestling has always lived in this moral gray area where we condemn the violence while secretly thrilling at its spectacle. And Damian Priest knows this. He's weaponizing our bloodlust against our conscience. The real question now becomes, what happens next? Because Kit Wilson's career hangs in the balance. His future is uncertain. And Damian Priest has essentially declared war not just on one man but on the entire concept of limits, boundaries, decency. He's daring someone to stop him. He's begging for a hero to emerge from the chaos and put him down like the rabid animal he's become. And that's where the story gets interesting. Because lurking in the shadows of SmackDown is Aleister Black, a man who knows darkness better than anyone. Black and Priest have been circling each other for weeks, their confrontations growing increasingly violent, their mutual hatred becoming the stuff of legend. Black has been vocal about Priest's descent into madness, warning him that the path he's walking leads only to destruction. But Priest hasn't listened. Priest doesn't care. And now, after this attack on Kit Wilson, Black has all the justification he needs to take Priest apart piece by piece. The crowd senses a war is coming. Not a match, a war. The kind of fight where both men leave pieces of themselves in the ring, where victory is measured not in pinfall or submission but in who can survive the other's wrath. The anticipation is building like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Social media is on fire with fans demanding justice, demanding retribution, demanding that someone make Damian Priest pay for what he's done. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Later in the night, after all the officials and medical staff have cleared out, after the ambulance has left the arena with Kit Wilson inside, the cameras catch something disturbing. Damian Priest, alone in his locker room, sitting on a bench with his head in his hands. For a moment, just a moment, he looks human again. Vulnerable. Haunted by his own actions. The camera zooms in slowly and you can see his hands trembling. Is it adrenaline? Is it regret? Is it the realization that he's become the very monster he once fought against? The segment ends without answers. Just that image of Priest alone with his demons, and the sound of a locker room door slamming shut. It's unsettling in the best way possible because it adds layers to a character we thought we understood. Maybe Priest isn't just evil. Maybe he's broken. Maybe he's lost so completely in his pain that destroying others is the only way he knows how to feel anything at all. That complexity is what separates good storytelling from great storytelling. But don't get it twisted, sympathy doesn't equal absolution. What Priest did to Kit Wilson was inexcusable, unforgivable, and demands consequences. Nick Aldis knows it. The locker room knows it. And somewhere deep down, Damian Priest probably knows it too. The tension heading into next week's SmackDown is suffocating because we have no idea what comes next. Will Kit Wilson ever wrestle again? Will Aleister Black finally be the one to end Priest's reign of terror? Will Aldis grow a spine and ban Priest from the building permanently? These are the questions that keep us coming back week after week. These are the moments that remind us why professional wrestling, when done right, is the most emotionally compelling form of entertainment on the planet. It's Shakespeare with suplexes. It's Greek tragedy with steel chairs. It's human drama amplified to mythic proportions. And that's exactly why SlamZone exists. To break down these moments with the passion and detail they deserve. To give you a place where we don't just recap what happened, we feel it together. We analyze it. We debate it. We live it. So if you've made it this far in this breakdown, you're exactly the kind of fan this channel was built for. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Smash that like button to let me know you're feeling this energy. Drop a comment telling me your predictions for what happens next. And share this video because content this detailed, this passionate, deserves to reach every wrestling fan out there hungry for real analysis. What happened on SmackDown this week wasn't just another segment. It was a statement. Damian Priest reminded everyone that he's the most dangerous man on the roster when he has nothing left to lose. Kit Wilson became a symbol of collateral damage in a war he never asked to be part of. Nick Aldis learned that being general manager means sometimes you're forced to watch nightmares unfold with your hands tied. And we the audience were reminded that wrestling at its core is about emotion, consequence, and the eternal battle between who we are and who we're capable of becoming. The road ahead is dark. The future is uncertain. But one thing is guaranteed: when Damian Priest finally meets his reckoning, whether it's from Aleister Black, from Aldis's authority, or from his own conscience, it's going to be the kind of moment that defines careers and lives and highlight reels forever. And we'll be here to break it all down. This is SlamZone. This is where legends are dissected. This is where stories become legacy. And you're part of this family now. So until next time, keep that passion alive, keep that fire burning, and never stop believing that wrestling, at its absolute best, can make you feel everything all at once. See you in the next breakdown.